Good morning, Indiana, on this Wednesday. So yesterday we saw two members of the mayor's staff involved in a housing scheme indicted. Will the mayor see any ripple effect from this indictment?
I think the big question would be is how does the mayor react? Mayor's office already put out a statement, thanking the U.S. attorney for his hard work, defending the integrity of the thousands of city employees who come to work every day, do their job, and saying this type of behavior will not be tolerated. Do they decide to go forward, review their policies and make sure there's no other ticking time bombs out there? When you have thousands of employees, you're always going to have a couple bad apples.
It's true. You're always going to have, there's always problems because you got a large organization. But the question here is, the IBJ did a story on this last year, and there was no follow-up. They talked about what the problems were, and so then yesterday indictments were handed down. It seems to me that there's serious questions that need to be answered in the mayor's office about why they let this fester, why they didn't do anything about it over those many months.
And the U.S. attorney, is he being overzealous? We've seen a number of both Democrats and Republicans face a public corruption charge. Overzealous or not?
I don't think so at all. I mean, I think he's doing exactly his job. I think it's been a long time since someone's been in the U.S. Attorney's Office who's focused on public corruption, and I think it's a good thing for our city and our state that we have someone there.
Last word.
I think he's doing exactly what you do as a U.S. attorney who would like to have another public office someday.
They're the best in the business. You can watch them every Sunday morning on Indianapolis This Week, 10:30 here on RTV6. We continue our discussion on theindychannel.com. Let's go through this a little bit more because this U.S. attorney has really both Republican and Democrat. He's gone after both equally.
Right. Yes, he has, and I think that it's an important thing to note that he set up a public corruption working group that has the state police in it, that has FBI in it, and has other folks in it. So I think that he saw a void when he went in there as the U.S. District Attorney, and I think he's filled it. And look, he's found stuff. I mean, there's no question that he's found stuff. Paul Bateman was found guilty. Lincoln Plowman was found guilty. You have. Well, he didn't do Lincoln Plowman, did he?
He finished it.
He finished. Yeah, he finished Lincoln Plowman. That's right. But and then these two most recent things with the chief deputy prosecutor for Marion County being indicted a couple weeks ago, and the investigation continuing on Carl Brizzi, and now this. So I think that it is an important thing for us to make sure that our tax dollars are being spent wisely and people aren't getting away with bribery.
I agree with Kip, but one thing I have to respectfully take a little bit of disagreement on: this public integrity unit is not necessarily the brainchild of Joe Hogsett. It's something that has been sort of sent down by the Justice Department in jurisdictions all across the country. Joe's just basically carrying out the orders of his peers. He's not doing a bad job because he's getting Republicans and Democrats, but this was not something that Joe just decided to get up and do one day. It's something that came down from Washington, D.C. Is
Joe Hogsett, our U.S. attorney, is he going to run for mayor? I mean, I hear that a lot. We've asked him at
He can't discuss it at this point, but I know there's a heck of a lot of Democrats who are hoping that he's looking at that office when he gets finished with this job. So I think that, he will be a very, very attractive candidate for the Democratic Party if he decides to run for whatever office he wants to
Your
run
thoughts
for.
on that?
I think Joe will be an attractive candidate if he can get through a primary. Already hearing other names of folks who may run. Dr. Woody Myers, former public health commissioner. Sam Odell, a few years ago, I speculated even this guy might run for mayor.
Are you going to run for mayor?
I'm not running.
You're not running.
Yeah, but if he can get through a Democratic primary, I think he'd be a formal candidate. You don't underestimate anybody.
Final moments we saw a major tornado hit Oklahoma. On the national political front, the president has been taking quite a beating. Whether he deserves it or not, we'll let the public decide. But does a storm like this sort of stop the criticism? Does it give him some wiggle room to deal with a national tragedy and take off those issues off the front page?
I would say there's some breathing room. I don't know that there's wiggle room. I think the Republicans will quickly return to what I call scandal mongering very rapidly. So I don't expect that it's anything other than a breather. The president, of course, has to deal with these things as they come up. The three controversies that are out there that Republicans are trying to make into a scandal, of course, the AP situation,
Journalism.
the Benghazi, which I think is just ridiculous. There's nothing there. There's no scandal there. I think the emails that were released show there's no scandal there. And then the third one, of course, the one that I think has the most seriousness attached to it as far as a problem is what happened with the IRS. As long as nothing reaches the White House in that scandal, it won't touch the president.
And you get the remaining last few seconds.
I think the president does get a little bit of a breather. Whenever we have national tragedies like this, we all sort of come together and put things in perspective. I caution my Republican friends not to overplay their hand. Polling data has come out, shows Hillary Clinton's approval rating with respect to Benghazi hasn't really changed. The president's still at 53%. So sometimes folks may just be speaking in an echo chamber. So unless you can make it more universal, Unfortunately, it becomes white noise because there are some serious things there, particularly the whole investigation with the IRS and investigating folks because of their political affiliation.
We will continue this debate in the green room, and we actually have a green room. They are the best of the business, Democrat Kip 2, and Abdul Hakim Shabazz with IndyPolitics.org. We thank you for watching the IndyChannel.com.